Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Dalton and I'm with Tim Smith. We're with Gettysburg History and we're doing something new today. Tim and I have been working together on research projects for, I don't know, like maybe 15 years. And we always kind of are working on it privately or, sometimes late at night and we're texting each other. And sometimes a long time ago, we used to work on Google Drive and we would edit documents kind of as we were doing research and we'd be putting information in. And it's such a fun process. We're always finding new things that we didn't know about, especially as more and more is digitized and scanned and put up on the internet. And so we wanted to kind of open up that process and show you a little bit about how we do these things. And so we wanted to pick a topic and actually just dig into doing some actual research. This is not planned or scripted in any way. We're just gonna pick a topic, and Tim, of course, picked Jennie Wade, the only civilian to die during the Battle of Gettysburg. And so we're going to see if we can dig up some Jennie Wade information that maybe Tim or I haven't seen before. And so we'll take some time here and show you what we find and dig into this. If it works well, we will post this, and then perhaps we'll do something like this live next time so that you can ask us questions in real time. But this time we just wanted to test it out, and you may or may not see the final product. But Tim, why did you pick Jennie Wade?
Oh, I mean, I'm always looking for new Jennie Wade information and writing about Jennie Wade and doing presentations on Jennie Wade. And I think one of the reasons she's easy to pick to do a research topic is because, visitors come to Gettysburg from all over the country. And when they visit Gettysburg, what do they know about the battle? They know a few things about the Battle of Gettysburg, but they know about John Burns, they know about Jennie Wade. So Jennie Wade is the most popular civilian icon associated with the Battle of Gettysburg. And so you can find articles about Jennie Wade in newspapers in Alaska and newspapers in Hawaii.
That's right. So, and we use newspapers.com a lot about when we're doing any kind of research about local civilians or any topic related to Gettysburg. So that's Tim and I are going to start digging around here, and you will watch and see if we find anything. And Tim has really creative ways of searching for things too. So let's just get started. We're not going to try to fill every second with us talking, but you'll see us digging around, and we'll switch back and forth between our screens.
One of my favorite things to do is spell Jennie Wade wrong because people who write about it don't necessarily know how to spell Jennie Wade, so it's often spelled with a Y. Also, I should tell you that I've noticed that Jennie Wade is the name of a famous singer, maybe an opera singer or something, like in the 1880s and 90s. So if you put Jennie Wade in, often articles about Jennie Wade the singer will come up. So what we want to do is when you search for an item on newspapers.com or in any newspaper search engine, you can put just one word in and search it all over the country, but that's going to give you a million results. So you probably want to try to hone your search into something that you can find specific information on. So I put Jennie Wade in here spelled wrong. And of course, beside it, I'll put Gettysburg. So that means that the newspaper page will have to have the words Jennie Wade, and I put it in quotes. So it'll have to have Jennie Wade specifically, and then it'll also have to have to have Gettysburg in it. And then when you push onto it, obviously it'll give you the most popular or the best matches that it can where the word Gettysburg and the words Jennie Wade are closest together on the page. You might want to go oldest. I do have here clicked oldest on here. So obviously Jennie Wade and Gettysburg's name's not going to appear prior to the battle because there's no reason to talk about her.
Right.
But we have the first thing in the search engine that came up on my page was the November article in the Harrisburg Telegraph. And I've seen this article before. And basically, the people in the Harrisburg are suggesting that they pull together some money and put up a monument to honor the heroine of Gettysburg, Jennie Wade. And in here, I believe there's a line that really upsets the people in Gettysburg that Jennie Wade was the only sacrifice that the town of Gettysburg gave to their patriotic cause. And this article really generated a lot of controversy because people in Gettysburg were sensitive to the fact that the newspapers after the battle were complaining about the civilians being mean-spirited towards the wounded and not helping them enough and doing all they could. And it was kind of just some dirt that was kind of generated by some New York newspapers after the battle about the unpatriotic Gettysburg citizens and how they were reacting to the emergency. So Harrisburg would like to put up a monument to Jennie Wade because she's the only, sacrifice that Gettysburg made upon the altar of freedom. Mm-hmm. And so the townspeople get really upset about this because men from Gettysburg were serving in the army, men from Gettysburg, helped. The ladies of Gettysburg helped with the wounded after the battle, and there was a lot of people in Gettysburg that supported the Union cause. It's a northern town in the northern state, and they're not Southern sympathizers. So that came up right away, this article. And so, in 1863, Jennie Wade becomes sort of this hero to many for being killed while baking bread for the soldiers, and the center of this controversy for others relating to this. And you can see this when I go in order in the November, December newspapers. Now, also, I picked those particular papers because, or Jennie Wade spelled wrong because it came up in those things. But Jennie Wade's nephew, Georgia Wade's McClellan's son, who was born on June 26th, moved to Montana, after the Civil War. And so if we put Jennie Wade spelled wrong and only look in papers that are published in Montana, you can find articles about Jennie Wade. Here's one from Bozeman, Montana, Bozeman. And this is from let's see, can I see the date here? Some of this stuff is right in the way of my date finding. Oh, there it is. July 22nd, 1880. The mother of Jennie Wade, who was killed in her house by a stray bullet at the Battle of Gettysburg while baking bread for Union soldiers, has been refused a pension by the Senate Committee on Pensions, deciding that Miss Jennie Wade was making bread of her own free will and probably for gain. Ooh, she's selling the bread to the soldiers. Oh, that's horrible. So anyway, she does end up getting a pension. But, Jennie Wade and the fact that she was killed in Gettysburg became so popular all over the country that you can virtually find her mentioned in any newspaper article.
All right, I'm going to try to show Tim something maybe he hasn't seen before. So again, there's so much that's constantly being digitized. As he was talking, I was looking for another keyword search, and I'm going to share my screen. And this is an obituary from the Harrisburg Patriot from 1936, and it's for Mrs. Amanda Treese, formerly of Steelton, who died Friday at the home of her son Harry Treese. And I'm not going to read the entire obituary, but it says Mrs. Treese was Miss Amanda Shaner before her marriage, had been a member of the Steelton United Brethren Church for 60 years. She was born in Greenmount near Gettysburg 20 years before the outbreak of the Civil War and had known Jennie Wade of war fame when the latter was an assistant in the only post office and general store in Gettysburg. She enjoyed quilting in her later years and was a regular reader. So what do you think of this, Tim? Have you seen this before?
Nope.
Did Jennie Wade work as an assistant in the post office?
I think they're saying Mrs. Shaner
in the latter
as assistant.
No, it does say the latter, so that would be Jennie Wade. Okay. I think the way that that's written.
Yeah.
Of course, we know very well that obituaries don't always have correct information in them. But here's an obituary of a woman who supposedly knew Jennie. And is there ever a reference that you know of, Tim, that says that Jennie Wade was an assistant in the post office and general store in Gettysburg? Interesting. So
You sure? Because it says she enjoyed quilting in her latter years. Um, it might, I just, the way it's written, it
maybe, well,
might be
let's
that
read it
Mrs.
again.
Shaner.
Mrs. Shaner, before her marriage, had been a member of the church for 60 years. She was born in Green Mountain near Gettysburg 20 years before the outbreak of the Civil War and had known Jennie Wade of war fame when the latter was an assistant.
Yeah, it does say, it
It
seems like,
does seem to refer to Jenny, so
yeah,
a little bit of a
sure.
little ambiguity there. But this is again kind of interesting that people are Jenny Wade's famous enough that in 1936, somebody who's really old who dies in the area is saying that the family who's writing the obituary, it was important enough to include that in the
Yeah.
obituary.
And that's true. I have seen other articles like so and so dies, childhood friend of Jenny Wade.
Yeah.
There's a few articles like it.
So we'll keep going along this line, and again, I'm pretty sure Tim has seen this one. I'm just opening it now for the first time.
Okay.
But we have an article here, I think, about the
Elizabeth
death
Thorne.
of, yeah, this is the death of Elizabeth Thorne, and they're reprinting her story.
So in Elizabeth Thorne's account, which this might be based on, it's printed in various newspapers. She had fled down to Baltimore Pike, and on July 2nd, well, it would be after July 3rd. So in the evening of July 3rd, I think a soldier stops at the house that she's at, which I think she says is the Henry Beitler house, and says, "Hey, when I was near town, I heard that a girl was killed, Jennie Wade."
Right. And then, of course, there's the exchange. The exact quote is, "You want to live on the." This is I think the soldier talking, right? And he asked if I knew Jennie Wade. I told him I did, and he said she was killed. Then he asked me if I knew Marie Bennett, and he said she was killed, but that was not true. Interesting.
Yeah, and obviously there is not another civilian female that's killed during the battle, but this guy had mentioned that, and there's some question about who this Marie Bennett that they're referring to is. I remember.
Yeah.
She definitely was not killed.
And there's interesting. Okay. So we've got another I'm trying these things and Tim taught me all these tricks and hopefully with AI we're getting to a point where we're going to be able to have even more success pulling things out of the newspaper. But I searched here for remembers Jennie Wade. So this is another article I think about the same woman that we just looked at who had passed away. This is a Harrisburg woman. Wow. 1934. She's 94. She recalls SS days under Jennie Wade. So let's read this. Have you ever seen this, Tim?
No.
Okay. Oh, I'm excited. I'm surprised so early in our video that we found something that Tim hasn't seen. And again, this is not something we pulled in advance. We are just looking at it now. So she says, days when the name of Jennie Wade meant no more than a host of other names along the Pennsylvania border are recalled by Mrs. Amanda Treese, Riley Street, who was born in Green Mountain near Gettysburg. It was to this community Mrs. Treese, who is in her 94th year, remembers that Jennie Wade, a young girl, Gettysburg girl, came to assist in the post office, which in that day was also the general store.
There you go. And of course, I should mention that Greenmount is a little village of houses about 4 miles south of Gettysburg along the Emmitsburg Road.
Right.
Just north of where Marsh Creek crosses the Emmitsburg Road. We do know that there was a little post office in Greenmount. I think the postmaster was Harper, maybe. His name was Harper. So it'd be interesting to see how this Miss Shaner is.
Yeah, and maybe we can, and this is another fun thing when we discover these types of things, then we can start looking into now there's more context and reason for us to want to know who this woman is.
No, we didn't read the article yet, but I would hope that the article would mention.
Well, it looks like we're getting some good stuff if I just skim.
The first day of the battle, the First Army Corps come marching through Greenmount.
Right. Yeah.
And I do know that J. Howard Wirt, who's a later historian, his future wife, or he knew someone that lived in Greenmount.
Well, let's read it, and I'm sure our viewers may have already started, but I'm very excited about this. Sometimes when I just get a glance at something and I start to see keywords here and there, it seems like this is going to be a good one. So here's what it says. And when the postmaster went toward a fight with the Union Army, it was to Jennie's care that he entrusted the Methodist Sunday School, of which he was superintendent. Okay, so this is all interesting and possibly verifiable information and it would fill in gaps perhaps that we don't know. So let me keep going. Likewise, when the Army called the superintendent of the United Brethren Sunday School, he too enlisted Jennie's aid, and the girl, although herself a Lutheran, was left to teach two schools which met at the local schoolhouse, McCurdy School. So he's suggesting that Jennie Wade was teaching the Sunday school in Greenmount. Okay.
And Jennie is confirmed at St. James Lutheran Church.
So that fact is correct. She is a Lutheran.
1862, although
wow,
she was baptized in a Methodist. Is that true? No, it was a Trinity Reformed. She was in the Trinity. She's baptized in the Reformed Church, but she went to the Lutheran Church. And also, I should mention that McCurdy Schoolhouse, although the building has been replaced, it is the building near Greenmount that's a schoolhouse today.
This is still there.
Yeah, some like
well, let's look at it. Since we're talking about it, I'm going to go right to it and we'll take a look at it.
It's where Ryder's Edge is, just north of the Eisenhower Inn on the Emmitsburg Road today. The McCurdy Schoolhouse at the time of the battle, I believe, was like a different structure.
All right, so hopefully you can see where I am, Tim. Yeah, so this is Greenmount, so we want to go a little
north of that. Okay, you see where Barlow Greenmount Road comes?
Oh, I know exactly where you're talking about, right there.
Schoolhouse.
Yep.
Yes.
So this is the school that is referenced
McCurdy Schoolhouse
in this article,
and that's the later McCurdy Schoolhouse.
Wow. So this is not the Civil War building, you're saying?
No, it's not the Civil War building.
Got it.
Building there.
So we're on the Emmitsburg Road. South Cavalry Field is right up the hill. We're not far from the Eisenhower, I guess. I'm not sure if it might have a new name now.
From Stewart's Motel that just recently met its demise. That sign just fell.
It looks like it was getting close in that picture.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go back to this article. So this is really cool. So let me read that again. So when the postmaster went to war to fight with the Union Army, it was to Jennie's care that he entrusted the Methodist Sunday School, of which he was superintendent. Likewise, when the Army called the superintendent of the Brethren Sunday School, he too enlisted Jennie's aid, and the girl, although herself a Lutheran, was left to teach two schools, which met at the local schoolhouse, McCurdy School. So this is suggesting Jennie Wade taught two Sunday schools at this schoolhouse on the Emmitsburg Road south of town. It was here that Mrs. Treese, then Amanda Shaner, a pupil in the joint school, learned to know the famous character of Civil War history. When it became certain that the Southern Army was coming northward, Jennie Wade left for her home in Gettysburg, where she lived with her mother and younger brother. And it was there during the second day of the Battle of Gettysburg that she was killed by a stray bullet while kneading bread, Mrs. Treese relates. You want to comment on those details?
Mistakes there. So first of all, we should mention that Andrew only found this article because he misspelled Jennie.
That's right.
Like I said.
That's right.
But in the main article, if you look at the title, they spelled Jennie's name right, although they spelled it wrong throughout the article. And then secondly, Jennie Wade did not live, she lived with her mother and her younger brother in town, and she was at her sister's house
when she was killed
on
July 3rd.
And it was July 3rd and not July 2nd.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, we're still, I mean, this is pretty obscure stuff to make it up. So let's see what we get. The aged woman seemed to live again. The aged woman seemed to live again in the days of her girlhood as she spoke of the details of the battle, and she wiped a furtive tear, wow, with the corner of her apron when she recalled the death toll of the fight and the mangled men left on the fields. So I hate when they summarize people's actual story by like that kind of, flowery language. Although she is confined to the second floor of the home in which she lives. Oh, I hope we're going to get something else. I don't know if we are. Several quilts recently completed adorn the shelves. So she's a quilter. She reads her Bible. And she's been a resident of Steelton, Pennsylvania for more than 60 years. Okay, so we didn't get much more. That's unfortunate, but still. Okay.
Now, do you want to show them what we would do with this to figure out who she is?
Yeah. Why don't you? Do you want to open an Ancestry tab? And then,
I can do that.
So yeah, we want to figure out whether this is true. Now, do you know anything about, what do you think, first of all, Tim? Do you believe that this could be true, that Jennie Wade was a Sunday school teacher?
I mean, John Wayne Johnston really tried to portray her affinity for reading the Bible in
Hmm.
his account, where he has Jennie Wade reading passages from the Bible
Okay.
on the morning that she's killed.
I
I
can let
mean,
me open Ancestry. You keep
yeah,
going, and then you can tell me what to do.
okay, okay. So
If you'll start with the 1860 census.
it's possible. And Mrs. Shaner, it would be nice to find her in the 1860 census living in Greenmount. That would make me feel better. Amanda Shaner. So we would go to the 1860 census, and you can just put, Adams County or Cumberland or whatever, Adams, Pennsylvania.
Yep, we're going to search the 1860 census, see what comes up for the Shaner family. All right,
Amanda
looks like
Shaner.
Freedom Township. Does that seem right to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. So, it's Cumberland Township through the village of Greenmount all the way to Marsh Creek. And then from Marsh Creek south, it's Freedom Township. So we'd expect her to find her living.
We're looking for an Amanda. Let's see.
And
There it is, 13. Okay, so she's 13 years old here on the 1860 census. Whoops, sorry for that.
what I usually do is, just because I've done this a lot, I look for neighbors, like
Kearns,
okay,
that makes sense.
okay, we know that
That's the Kearns farm right next door.
mm,
James Kearns, unless you think that's another
no, because
Kearns.
we're in Freedom now, so we're way south.
Oh, okay.
But I was looking for like Jacob Myers, let's see, Appler,
Henry Lynn,
then yeah, they don't look
John
that
Krause.
familiar.
They're all owners. We'll look at the 1858 map too, and
Yeah.
we'll take a look at that. Adams County.
So the Shanners might live, because the Shanner, also what we look at is, you might have noticed in the census, is that her father did own property. Because
Right.
of her tenants, we have a more difficult.
Well, I'm
time.
seeing very familiar names there.
There's Lynn. Do you see that? Zoom
Yep.
in.
We
And
got
you
the
see
Lynn right there.
And then there's the Jacobs and the Myers. So go north to the creek.
There's H. Myers. Here we
There's
go.
Krieger.
We're getting real close,
Yeah,
I
there's
think.
Krieger. So we should see a Shaner somewhere around here, maybe. No.
Yeah, I'm not
But you
seeing
see
it
how-
there. But
now
see how the
Greenmount-
road comes in right here.
Yeah.
So it should be right in this area, but again, they could have purchased the property later. They might be. Are they renters? I didn't.
It looked like to me they were property owners.
Yeah, they are.
$800,
Yeah.
$900 of the
Charles
property.
Shaner is right next to James Kearns and Joseph
Yeah.
Krieger.
And we saw Krieger.
So we've got Joseph Krieger right here.
Yeah. Who
Um,
was the other guy?
um,
The Myers?
yeah, well, James Kearns, but then let me go up. Jacob Myers was the other.
Jacob Myers.
Oh, there's a Myers there.
There's Myers. There's Krieger. They seem to be going northward.
Well, we're where we need to be. And where is the schoolhouse, Tim, that we just looked at? That's further up, right?
Yeah, see
Right
where it says
there.
store? You see where it
Okay.
says store?
Yeah.
The Greenland Post Office?
Yeah.
That's where she's talking about. And then go up a little bit.
And that's
you'll
the
see
schoolhouse right there. So we're not far off the mark at all. So this is adding up so far.
She says she lives and where they live in the census all matches. So that's the kind of thing we look for when we verify whether this person might be giving an honest account. It's interesting to me that in that account, we often find where they mention Jennie Wade because she's famous, but I would have guessed. Now, what Andrew and I might do is, because we're interested in the Shaner girl as much as we are in the information about Jennie Wade. Maybe not everybody is, but we might look and see if this Shaner lady has an account of the battle.
Yeah, that was published in the newspaper. Let's take a look and see.
Giving information.
Amanda Treese. Let's try that. Just her name.
What we would do is look in just Harrisburg newspapers.
Well, I think the name's is specific enough. We might be okay just with the name. There's 26 matches.
What year was that last thing that we had?
It was the 1934. 1934.
Okay.
So, interesting. Okay, hold on. The Gettysburg Times appears to have printed the same story. Let's see if they have anything else. I missed that. So this is in the Gettysburg Times in 1934. And it looks like it's a direct quote. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there's anything else here. Let's just make sure. Mrs. Treese, 94th year, Gettysburg, General Postmaster. Yeah, I think it's a direct.
Well, you see, they have Jennie Wade spelled wrong.
They do.
And if you go into the title,
Amanda Treese. I spelled that right. Yep. Okay.
Uh,
All right. Let's see. So she died in 1930. I can't remember the original article. It was 1930s. Let's try 1900 to 1940 and just see what we get. We got 26 matches here. Okay, so there's what we had right there. Well, let's see. Maybe there's something
did
else
you
here.
sort them in order?
There's another one. No, that's a good point, Tim. So we're gonna order them by year. Oh yeah, we did have them oldest to newest. So let's see. 94th birthday.
There you go. She's born near Gettysburg.
I think that was the other one we may have seen.
And this
Oh,
is the
that's the
children.
your 94th birthday. Wow, it's amazing. Amanda Treese, who was taught in Sunday school by the Jennie Wade of Civil War history, is celebrating her 94th birthday quietly today at her home. Amazing that it's like Jennie Wade is the focal point of what how they're covering, you
Well,
know.
again, I mentioned this
Let's
in
see.
my
Here's another one.
Gettysburg Address research, is that article after article after article, when somebody dies, say, they were born, they married, they had the following children. Oh, by the way, they heard Lincoln give the Gettysburg Address. It becomes part of your biography. And with this
Uh,
girl, her association with Jennie Wade is part of our biography.
no luck so far. We'll keep going. It looks like she's mentioned a lot in the paper.
Why don't you put Amanda Treese and then put like
Wade.
Battle of Gettysburg, or put her maiden name?
Yeah,
Because we're interested in like
good idea. We
we're
want
interested in
Shaner.
like her
Yeah,
her reminiscence of the battle. I would
this
like
looks
to
like what we already
I
have.
would like to see her
But yeah, no, it's
give
the
her
same.
reminiscence about the First Army Corps marching by on July 1st, or camping there the night before.
Okay, here's something else, maybe. Here's her obituary, knows new Jennie Wade. Let's just see. She was born in Greenmount. I think we had this already. The occasion of her 94th birthday had been Miss Amanda Shaner. Yeah. Okay, so we know we had that already. All right, here's another. That's about her funeral services. It says she was born in Greenmount, 20 years before the outbreak of the Civil War, and no Jennie Wade again. So we're getting the same quotes. Yeah,
It's
wouldn't that be
interesting, she was
some?
only 13 in the 1860 census, but she lived in Greenmount for 20 years before the Civil War. Did you notice that?
Yeah, little little bit of math of a math problem. Interesting. Well, I don't know if we're gonna find much more
Oh,
on this one,
well,
but
I hope, but I really
but we
like
have
it.
a really cool new account of Jennie Wade. Um, I'm not giving up here. Just to see if there's anywhere else we could possibly. Yeah, we've seen all these stories, I think. You know what? Maybe someone watching will really want to dig into this and see if there's anything else to be found about Amanda Shaner. And it's really nice when we can find something very specific about a resident of the area at the time of the battle. And this is really great information. We know that they live somewhere in the vicinity of Greenmount on the Emmitsburg Road. And, she's adamant that Jennie Wade is actually a Sunday school teacher at the schoolhouse in Greenmount. So new information about Jennie Wade that we found in just 20 or 30 minutes of digging around. So we're going to keep looking, see if there's anything else. I'm going to try another creative search. Maybe we'll try Jennie spelled correctly this time, but new Jennie Wade with the IE.
And what I did was I put in for the search engine Jennie Wade house. So, the house Jennie Wade was killed in became a museum in 1901. And putting that into the search engine, the first references we have for the Jennie Wade house come in 1901. So obviously Jennie Wade didn't own the house. It was owned by John Houck. Jennie Wade's sister rented the house at the time of the battle. So and I've had people complain about this recently that, well, that's not the Jennie Wade house. But that's what it was known as. That was the name of the museum. The Jennie Wade House is the name of the museum that was established there. And you can see the first newspaper article comes up in May of 1901. And it's Robert Miller is having the Jennie Wade House fitted up as a battlefield museum. So there it is right there. And so we know that around that time, the Jennie Wade House became a museum. And then May 25th, 1901, there's an article here that talks about, again, Robert Miller starting the Jennie Wade House Museum. And you can find, accounts where people are visiting it. And you find information about Jennie Wade in these articles about the opening of the house. And I always just point out to people that the Jennie Wade House opened in May of 1901 as a museum, and it's still open today to the public as a museum. So it has been a museum for 124 years or something like that, depending on how you figure it out. And it's the longest continuously operational museum in the town. And I just find that very, very fascinating.
Okay, I've got something, I think.
Okay.
And I think you're going to like this, Tim. So yeah, if you unshare your screen, my screen will come up for everybody in a second. We'll get better at this, I promise. So this is an article from the, let's see, Democrat. My thing is blocking it. Democrat and Chronicle, 1932, February 13th. Now, this might not be something that brings new information about Jennie Wade forward, but I think this is going to be fun if we can figure this out. So this is an article I'm guessing Tim has never seen before, or at least we don't remember.
I'm recognizing the newspaper and I'm recognizing the name of the.
Oh, no. Okay. All right. So I think, unfortunately, we won't get to have a fun discovery here, but I like this little blurb. It says, as a girl, so a woman named Mrs. Thaddeus Bilson. As a girl of 10 years, she witnessed the battle from the cupola on the roof of her home and knew intimately Jennie Wade, the only woman killed in the battle. The latter was mixing dough and struck by the fatal bullet. Okay. All right, Tim. How many private residences in Gettysburg have cupolas on the roof? Do you know exactly where this is?
Mrs. Thaddeus Bilson. If off the top of my head, tell me if I'm wrong, but is this Leander Warren's sister?
I don't know, but I'm wondering what house has a cupola. So, okay, we need to look up Mrs. Thaddeus Bilson.
There's three people that I remember associated with Penn Yang.
Yeah, that's right.
Could be Kuhn.
I do remember that.
Could be Mrs. Kuhn.
Okay, we've got a
Middle Street. Well, you know how I would do it.
Penn Yan. Here we go. Lucy Ann Bilson. That's another one. Elizabeth Ann Bilson. Yeah. How would you look for it?
How I do it real quick?
Or I'll go back to you can if you share your screen again. You can take it over if you want. Is it Leander Warren's sister?
No.
Okay.
Alice Myers.
Okay.
I forget. I hadn't seen that before though. Alice Myers. Is Alice Myers Sally Myers' sister?
Well, I'll look in the 1860 census for an Alice Myers in Gettysburg.
And she, what I did, and you say you don't know if it's sharing my screen. Let me see.
Yeah, if you hit share screen, it will come up. In the meantime, I'm looking in the 1860 census for an Alice Myers in Gettysburg or in Adams County. Let's just try Gettysburg.
It says she's born in 1853 in Gettysburg. Alice Myers Bilson. And she marries Thaddeus Bilson, who's also born in 53, and they're buried in Lakeview Cemetery in Dundee, Yates County, New York. So what I did immediately is, okay, her husband's name is Thaddeus Bilson. So I just went to find a grave and put Thaddeus Bilson in and pushed search, because how many people named Thaddeus Bilson could possibly live in the United States?
And we got your screen up now so people can see it. Okay. Alice Myers Bilson.
That's on Find a Grave. So now, Andrew, in the census, can you find Alice Myers?
Yeah, I looked. I was having trouble. So what is the birth date, Tim?
1853.
All right, 1853. And let's just see.
Unfortunately, it doesn't show on Find a Grave. It's not connected. Sometimes Find a Grave connects to the
we got a couple in Butler Township. Would that make sense?
Yeah.
And Alice W. Myers, or an Alice with the parents Gabriel and Mary Myers. And that's a Table Rock post office. And then we have an Lawrenceville. Both fit the bill. So the Find a Grave doesn't have any parents listed or anything?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do something. We're going to search public member trees on Ancestry. They might still be looking at your screen. So let me share my screen here. And we're going to try to find Is it two L's in Bilson? Thaddeus. That's a pretty
Was one
specific
L.
name. All right, here we go. So here's someone else's family tree on Ancestry, and hopefully we'll get the parents' names here. So we have Margaret Thaddeus Bilson. Maybe this isn't right. That's not right. Wrong person. Oh, this is one of the children. I see. Okay. Yep. Alice Myers died in 1944. It doesn't have her parents here. That's too bad. Ugh. Let me go back. There might be another tree that has it. So we are trying to figure out who the parents are so we can figure out where this person lives.
And hit multiple trees. You see right under it says found in 23 trees.
Oh, yeah. Good. All right, let's try this one. Again, we're kind of cheating because we're looking at somebody else's genealogy here. I'm sure we could figure it out. Alice M. Myers Bilson, 1854. Again, unknown parents. So what's going on here with this? Let's just search.
There's a birthday.
Well, she dies in 1944. Where does she die? Is it in Pennsylvania or
No,
New York?
Panyang, New York.
So we can't look at her death
So
certificate.
look at
Alice M. Myers. I think there was an Alice M on the census. Not that we want to go off of that entirely. Let's take a look.
We have her date of birth.
Alice W. No, it was Alice W. That could be an M though. We do have her date of birth. We just have two that fit the description. They're both in Butler Township, so that's north of Gettysburg, like Biglerville area. It looked like it said Arnsville and Table Rock. But not somebody who lives in downtown Gettysburg. Not exactly what I was expecting. Is that right, Tim?
Yeah. So again, sometimes these houses. She's 10 years old.
Witnessed the Battle of Gettysburg from the cupola on the roof of her home and knew intimately Jennie Wade.
So, I mean, the cupola of her home could be 10 miles from Gettysburg. And
it could.
Watching the battle in the distance.
Yeah. Let's try, what else could we try here? Maybe
if we were upstairs
we could
in our research archives, I would look up Thaddeus Bilson in 3x5 index cards and it would tell us who he married.
Well, let's try this. Thaddeus Bilson.
Or in a local newspaper.
And just see in general what kind of newspapers we get. Yeah. And her name's Alice, so let's see if there's an Alice mentioned next to her. Oh, here we go. Here's something. There we got their golden wedding anniversary. Her maiden name was Alice Myers of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Oh my gosh. I think we just found something really cool here by accident. Okay. At the age of 10 years, Mrs. Bilson visited the Battle of Gettysburg. Wait a minute. I thought she visited the battlefield of Gettysburg. It says she saw it during the Civil War on the third day after the battle. At that time, the Union soldiers were burying their dead comrades and piling up the dead horses and mules in huge heaps and burying them.
Oh, no, I wanted to light them on fire.
She was also present when Abraham Lincoln delivered the famous Gettysburg Address in November 19th, 1863.
Okay, wait a minute, Andrew.
Do you know who this is now?
Yang. I was going to tell you that the other person that I know that's associated to Penang, New York later is Albert Cook Myers'
could this be
Cook Myers' mother?
Could this be the sister then? No. I don't think so. At least the census didn't seem. Well, okay, let's keep reading. This could be really good. Okay. One of the outstanding memories of this memorable date is the fact that President Lincoln stopped in the middle of his address to leave the platform to assist a lady in the large audience who had fainted.
Yeah.
He picked her up to his arms and carried her to the platform where he placed her in a chair. Is that true?
That is according to the Smyser family history. And remember, the Smysers are related to Jennie Smyser Wills, David Wills' wife.
Right. Yeah.
She gets her brother and family on the speaker stand, and they say in her account, or maybe they weren't allowed to sit on the speaker's platform because too many people, but Anna Capetta, cousin from Baltimore, was in the crowd, and they say she pretended to faint and was carried up onto the speaker's platform and thereby got a good seat.
And Lincoln himself rushed down to help her. Is that so? Do you believe that account? Do you think it's true?
Do I believe that account? I mean, there's a little confirmation of the account. I was going to say here, Andrew, that Albert Cook Myers' mother is Sarah Cook Myers.
Okay.
And on her Find a Grave account, and I remember this, she actually talks in her account about being at the Gettysburg Address. And we have a
Okay.
civilian account
So
of it.
you surmise that this woman is related to them
So I'm
somehow.
looking, I'm
Well, while you're
looking.
looking, let me read a little bit more of the account. During the Civil War, the rebel soldiers were stealing horses and cattle from the resident farmers about Gettysburg, so that her father and other farmers drove their stock in the mountains where they hid them. They had not much more than secreted the animals in the mountains when the several farms were raided by the rebels in search of the cattle and fresh mounts for the troops. So this is very common in so many of the civilian accounts that the farmers took their horses away into the mountains. Usually we're talking about the South Mountain, so we're talking about west of Gettysburg. And that would make sense because that mountain range stretches up into the northern parts of the county, and which is where we think we're looking at that area in terms of where these people live. But I want to see where this farm is and see if this house is still standing and has a cupola on top of it. That's what I want because I love when we have site specific discoveries like that. Let me see if there's any more information that might help us out here. It does give their children's names. Mr. Bilson is a native of Yates County. They were married at the home of the bride's parents in Gettysburg, PA, December 25th, 1874.
Okay, where Sarah Cook Myers, the Myers that she's married to is John Myers. So they live in
This is really cool. I'm actually going to clip this. It looks like no one has ever clipped this article. So I'm going to clip this so that we can find it again. Because this is a civilian account that I don't think we've ever seen before. Is that right, Tim?
yeah, again, I have an account from Sarah Cook
So
Myers,
this is
and this would be
Alice Myers.
the Myers guy that we're talking about owns, I believe, the Bendersville Inn, the inn in Bendersville, the
Okay.
Elkhorn Tavern.
And Tim, you have many accounts, right, of the horses being piled up, horses and mules piled in
Yeah,
heaps.
yeah, love it, though.
Yeah, incredible. That's an incredible account. Let me keep digging and see if there's anything else about him that references
I've
Gettysburg.
seen something with the Thaddeus Belson, Mrs. Thaddeus Belson,
We
but I
have
don't
that.
know if I used it in mine.
I don't know if we actually have an obituary though, so let's keep looking for
Well,
that.
here's something here. Did you see that?
That one before it,
Yeah, right there. Finger Lakes Times.
right here.
Yeah,
This one.
click onto that one.
Okay.
No, no,
Oh,
the
the
one
one under
below.
it.
The one below that.
Oh, here.
Yeah,
Good.
it looked like it had
Oh
more.
yeah, I missed it. Very good. All right, here's the obituary. Often told of the great Civil War battle, she remembered the events of the day from childhood. She was a widow of the late Thaddeus Bilson. The couple lived in Penyon. Okay, unfortunately, nothing more than that. Doesn't give her parents' names either. Gosh, we're
Again,
getting killed on this.
everything is suggesting to me they live in Bendersville, not
Yeah.
Gettysburg.
So she wouldn't have watched the battle from the cupola?
Well, it's a few miles north.
Okay, here we go. Hold on. Here's another version. Mrs. Bilson was the only person in the area known to have seen the Battle of Gettysburg and to have heard President Lincoln's famous address. She was born on a Gettysburg farm in Adams County, PA, August 14th, 1854, and was 10 when the historic conflict swirled around the very doors of her parents' home.
You know what we could do now? We could easily now go to Ancestry.
And put her birth date in. Yeah.
And or you could go for the census. So we could now look in the Manalapan Township. Oh, you did for Butler.
We had two Alice's in Butler Township that fit the almost exactly. So that's our problem right now. We need to figure out which one it is. The possible parents are Gabriel and Mary Myers, or it looks like we have maybe a widower, Jameson Myers. But there's a 7-year-old Alice in both of these households. So we need to figure out which one it is. Which I'm confident that Tim can do.
Yeah, I mean, given a few
Well,
minutes.
let's figure it out. I'll keep looking for articles here, and maybe Tim can figure out her parents. I have to believe there's some ancestry source. We do have, according to this, her exact birth date, August 14th, 1854. Let's keep looking, and maybe we'll search her name with the word Gettysburg and see if we get anything else.
You say Alice 14th?
But again, a new civilian account. I love when we find new stuff. August 14th, I think. All right. All right, here we go. We might have another article here. Let's see. Oh boy. Okay, we got a big long article. All right, this is Rochester, New York, August 17th, 1927. Hopefully, we'll get a piece of information. Again, I don't think we have anything on this person at all. Um, all right, possibly one of the few remaining persons in the United States and the only one living in Yates County who heard President Lincoln deliver his immortal speech, Mrs. Thaddeus W. Bilson. W, okay, interesting. So that makes me wonder whether it's Alice W. Myers, Gabriel and Mary Myers would be the parents. Well, we might hone in on this now. Anyway, we'll keep going. Gives a thrilling description of the Battle of Gettysburg and the events of the dedication of the National Cemetery. All right. Mrs. Bilson, who was born at Gettysburg, is remarkably active and would not appear to be past 50 years old. She's actively interested in the social life of the town, and although only 10 years old at the time of the battle, remembers distinctly many details of the conflict. Here we go. Recalling the exciting natives of the section with their cries, "The rebels are coming." Oh, I see what it's saying. Mrs. Bilson states that her father, fearing the loss of his stock from Confederate foraging parties who were sweeping the country clean, took his cattle and with neighbors drove them deep into the remote sections of the Piney Mountains. Mrs. Bilson, her mother, and a brother and sister. Okay, so there is an intact family here. So I think we've
Okay,
got enough. I think we've got enough to.
in the census records in 1860 in Butler Township
Yeah,
near
I'm
Arntsville, we
looking
have
at that too.
Jameson Myers,
I think that's the wrong one though.
35, Elizabeth. No, this is according to family
You think that is
tree.
the other one
This
then?
is Thaddeus Bilson's
Okay, let's go back
wife.
then.
Jameson Myers, Elizabeth Myers, Alice Myers.
I thought there was no mother in the household. Are you on the 1860
I'm an
census?
1860
All
census.
right, maybe they just transcribed it
Alice Myers.
somehow differently. Oh, I
And
see it. Yeah, okay, I got it. I see what you're going
and
for.
on the family tree of
Jameson and Elizabeth,
ancestry,
is that what you're looking at?
yeah,
Jameson and Elizabeth. Okay.
Jameson Elizabeth
Oh, and he
Company.
owns real estate, so we still, again, I don't know. For me, the exciting part would be if we can find the exact house that they're talking about here. But let's keep reading the account, and
Go ahead.
maybe Tim, in the meantime, can figure out kind of where we're looking here. All right, Mrs. Bilson, her mother and a brother and sister were left. Okay, well here we got her mother and a brother and sister. Does that match what we're seeing on the
Okay, I mean, look,
account?
I just saw it.
Mother, brother,
She has a
sister.
brother and
That's
a sister.
exactly right. Okay, that's
She has
exactly right. They were left at the house, and shortly a Confederate regiment marched into sight and made camp on their farm property about 200 yards from her home. Okay, Tim, you're kind of the authority on this, what's going on in this part of the county. So, where are we, roughly speaking? We're in Butler Township near
Arntsville.
Arntsville. Would it be accurate that a Confederate regiment marched into sight and made camp on the farm 200 yards from the home?
Well, in the morning of July 1st, Rhodes Division marched from Heidlersburg to Biglerville
Hmm.
along what is currently two
Okay. We'll show people what we're talking about here on the
294.
map. Go up. Here's Heidlersburg and Middletown, Biglerville right here. So again, we're north of Gettysburg. We're looking at this road. Am I correct, Tim? Right
Yeah,
here.
they marched on the road from Heidlersburg east to on the map where it
To
says
Biglerville.
Middletown.
Yep.
And so we're in the middle of Butler there. And you can see Arntsville.
And we'll try to, well, you know what? Let's pause the account. We'll leave people in suspense for a minute and let's try to find out where they are. So we're on the 1860 census. Jameson Myers. Maybe, Tim, you could tell me who I should look for while I'm panning around the map trying to find where we are. So I'm looking for a Myers. Who are some of the neighbors?
Okay, let me get to it.
No problem. I'll look at one neighbor while he's pulling it up. We have Lynn Miller as a property owner, and we have a big property owner, Mary Altland. See if we can find an Altland.
Samuel Lawver.
Myers, Altland. Okay, I have a J Myers. We're looking for a Jameson Myers, so that could be it.
Factory operative.
All right, we've got a J Myers, so that's encouraging. We're over in the corner.
Henry Weigel is the biggest property owner in the area.
Mary Altland, Lynn Miller, Samuel Lawver, and William Miller. Okay, I see a Miller here too. It's looking pretty good.
Where are you at there?
Um,
Down below is
do you see the J Myers right here? I don't know how easily you can get back to my screen.
if
I've got a J Myers in the
it
corner,
looks like to me if you
Oh.
go up and
but that might not be it. You
I
think
think we'd
it's
have to be on the other side of Butler Township
okay?
on
Yeah,
the
let's look somewhere else
extreme
because I'm not
western
seeing all
side.
the other names. We would expect this is again the census is 1860. This map is 1858. So you would expect to see very similar names.
I think we're on the other side of if you go to the other township, the other
Yeah,
side of
we're
the
over on
canal.
the east side now. We were on the west side. I'm sorry, we were on the east side. Now we're on the west side. Do you think we're on the west or where do you think we should
You got to
be
be
at?
on the west side.
Okay, that's where we are. I'm sure we'll find it. Let's
You're
see.
not sharing the map though
Oh, really? I think people are.
on the
If you go
census.
back to, oh, I'm not sharing the map. Sorry, everyone. All right, we'll try to avoid that. Okay, so we're looking at the map of
You see
Butler
what's
Township,
Beecherstown? There's a factory and a creek mentioned. So I was thinking
somewhere down here,
Beecherstown will
maybe.
be more near Orangeville.
I'm
Yeah, if you
confident
look
we'll
over the
find it.
stream up there to the left, under where it says
I
Beecherstown.
see a paper mill, and there's the Beechers. Wireman Git. I'm not seeing the names that we're seeing on the census. Um, let's go back to the census. Take a look at the census. So, the next door neighbors, again, I'm going to make sure we're doing this right. We're near Arendsville in Butler Township.
Yeah, the Orangeville things throw me
I
off.
wonder if we're in Arendsville, but they're all farmers, so I
Yeah,
don't think
Orangeville's
so.
in technically in
William
Franklin
Bailey,
Township.
that's a name we know. John Hoffman, Isaac Byers, Henry Whistler. Whistler, Hoffman, and Byers. I think we might have been there earlier, though.
On the
Whistler.
Table Rock Road. I mean, it
I
doesn't
think
seem
we
like
might be further over here. I don't know. We've got to find some of them. It's crazy that we haven't found.
again, it's on the census and not the map.
Here's a John Whistler. I can't remember what Whistler we just had. An H Whistler. And a D. It could be Whistler. We have a Lynn Miller, a Samuel Lawver, and this J. Myers. And we have lots of property owners. We should be able to find this. Wagner, Samuel Beecher. Oh, we are not far from. Okay, so Samuel Beecher and Paper Maker is further down on the page. So that's a very good hint that Tim's right, that we're over in the west
Oh yeah,
part.
I see
So
Papermaker Samuel Beach.
so if we go, let's see, can you follow the census up, Tim, and I'll look at the map maybe?
Okay.
All right, so who's next to Beecher? Because we have Beecher right here.
A bit
Oh, wait a second. I think we got it. I think we're in Beechersville because I see a J. Myers right there.
can we look at the
So
map?
is there a blow up of Beechersville? I don't think there is, right? I don't think some towns have little blow ups of them.
Can you make the map go back to the
Yeah,
map?
I can. Yeah, we're right in that. Whoop, I'm really in the wrong area now. There we are. So is there a blow up? Maybe I don't know. J. Myers. It's one of these houses right in Beechersville. That's got to be it. Um, and yeah, there's a laver right there. We had a laver we were missing. And let me just make sure there's no Beechersville map. But Tim, I'm pretty sure. Am I correct that there's definitely
Yeah,
not a Beechersville map?
on the side of the
Barnesville, Mummersburg, Sherrystown, Middletown, Abbottstown, Heidlersburg, Pendersville, Fairfield. No, there's no Beechersville map. So let's check the 1872 Adams County Atlas. I don't know if they still are living there. We used to be able to pull this up
my
off
screen's
of.
still scrolled on the census.
Oh, okay. Here, let's go back actually and read. So we think she lives in Beechersville. Let's keep reading her story for a minute and see if we get any more clues. Okay. Can you see the story?
Yep.
All right. So we're talking about Confederates marched into sight and made camp on the farm property about 200 yards from her home. As she says, there are good and bad men in all armies, but the women were most courteously treated by the rebels who assured them of complete protection. This was most unexpected as prior to the coming of the gray-clad regiments, a party of rebel cavalry had searched the barns and outbuildings for food and finding the stock gone, had made threatening remarks. However, the officers were real Southern gentlemen and Mrs. Wilson's mother made many loaves of bread for them for which they paid in Confederate money, remarking that the Federal greenbacks would not be worth much when the battle was over. So, Tim, rebel cavalry in the area of Beechersville, does that make
They're
sense?
talking about on June 27th
Hmm.
when Juba Early's force was stationed a little south of there in Mummersburg, but they
Okay.
were stationed right south of that. And that night, undoubtedly, it'd probably be like Colonel French's 17th Virginia Cavalry was scouting that area. And then that was the evening of the June 26th and June 27th, they marched across and they hit a few of those areas. So yes.
Right. Okay, here we go. I'm excited because I think we're going to get back to where we started with the account. And again, this is what's really fun for us is we've not seen this. We're reading it for the first time with you. And this is brand new stuff. One thing which the little girl of 10 never forgot was the remarks of some of the rebel soldiers that when the war is over, we will not go back. We'll stay here and marry the Pennsylvania girls who can make such excellent bread. And strange to say, that is just what two of the men did. Okay, that's interesting. She's saying specifically two Confederates stayed and married local women.
Well, one of them obviously is Milas
Yes.
Wilson of the
Yep.
16th North
That's
Carolina.
right. Yeah.
And that's not very far from where she lives. And she probably might know the
Right.
plank girl that he marries after the war.
That's
Hey,
awesome.
I think that's great. I mean, obviously the girls in Gettysburg are much prettier than the girls in
Don't know about that. Okay. Commencing on the first day of July, the battle raged for 3 days, and the children with their mother uh,
repair.
repaired to a high cupola on their home where they could see hundreds of bursting shells, occasional glimpses of the opposing armies locked in the deciding combat of the Civil War. The rattle of musketry and thunder of the battle was terrific, and streams of wounded were constantly being carried past the little home. That might be a bit of an exaggeration because we're
Yes,
pretty far from the battlefield.
far from the
But
battlefield.
but again, high cupola on their home. So, what are the odds? We know we're in Beechersville. I'm gonna go to Google Maps. There's like what, 6 houses still in Beechersville. If one of them has a cupola on it, I will be very excited, but I doubt it. So what do you think, Tim? Should we drop ourselves
Yeah.
in
And there's a lot
Beechersville
of them.
and see if
Hey,
we see any
generally,
cupolas?
there's Beecherstown,
Beecherstown, that's
but
right.
although
Yep.
some of the accounts
All
call it
right, so we are
Beecherstown.
in Beecherstown now, and I'm not expecting we're going to see a house with a
No,
cupola,
I was just at
but
that blue house. I
one
was
of these
just, I
houses,
forget why, but I was just at that blue house on the right there.
okay, come
Yeah,
on,
that's it. You're
cupola.
past it.
Is
That's,
that
I think on the right, that was the last
one
one.
of these houses? Yeah, I think you're right too. So we don't see a house with a cupola. Well,
You're
there's one
maybe
down here. I think we are, unless there's something up there. What is that? That's kind of weird. See that?
Yeah, maybe that a former cupola.
Yeah, interesting. No, it looks more like they turned a
Yeah.
store into a residence or something. All right, so we're not seeing a cupola. That's okay. I think we
You go
still have a
back
shot.
down, you go back down the road and around the
We
corner.
still have a
This
shot
is near,
here.
this is near where the mill is, where the
And this
paper
is
mill.
I believe this
And
is the old
yeah, right
um,
there.
mill building. So, okay, well, you know what? Let's keep
There's
reading.
one more house if you keep going
There's
down.
more. Okay,
Go
cool.
down.
I
There's
didn't
one more
realize that.
house up there on the right.
All right, here we go. Yep, no cupola. All right, so that's okay. I was really hoping for a cupola. We might still be able to clarify the exact location of the house, but let me finish reading the account because we've taken forever to actually read the account. All right. Okay, this is great. Tim's gonna love this. One well-remembered incident which made a spectacle for the countryside was the death of General Warren, who, standing on a pile of high rocks close to Little Round Top, was surveying the scene through his field glasses when struck down by a rebel ball. What do you think of that, Tim?
Well, I can tell you this, in 1888, in August 1888, when he put up the monument for General Warren on Little Round Top,
Yeah.
there's an article in our paper that says the monument is at the exact spot where General Warren was killed during
Oh
the fight.
no. Okay.
So I just saw that in another.
Well, are we referring to General Weed, maybe? Is that what would we like to
They're
be
just
charitable
referring
to
General
them?
Warren,
Okay.
and they're just wrong.
Yeah, all right. Well, Tim's not going to be charitable. All right. Incidents among the civilians were sometimes humorous in character. Oh, interesting. Hearing of the Southerners as being Democrats, Mrs. Bilson's mother took pains to obtain a Democratic newspaper, which she placed in a conspicuous place in the home. That reminds me of the Confederate flag we have in our museum that was stitched together in haste as the Confederates were approaching to try to convince them not to destroy the house. Okay. 3 days after the Great Battle, hundreds of citizens mingled with the army details who were cleaning up the field. All right, this is going to be my favorite part, I think. Mrs. Bilson was among the number and draws a vivid picture of the scene. The stench, she states, was horrible. Visitors held herb-filled cloths and handkerchiefs to their faces as they wandered about the still bloody field. Dead horses were being burned in great piles and burying. Yeah,
Burning horses.
Tim is a big fan of the burning horses. Dead horses were being burned in great piles, and burying parties were throwing the dead soldiers in shallow trenches where hands and feet often protruded through the ground. Then, as at the present time, there were the in what are we? Oh, inveterate souvenir hunters who were gathering the guns, fragments of shells, bullets, bayonets, and other equipment. Her own father says Mrs. Bilson had a huge stack of clothing and other articles which he stored in his barn. She saved a sword and some bullets, which she kept until a number of years ago. Oh my gosh. On September 19th of the same year, okay, I think
Oh
we're
no, they got
mixing
the
up the
net.
date there.
Yeah.
November 19th, it should be. Thousands of persons from all over the country assembled on the battlefield, still stained with blood and torn with shot and shell, to hear the dedication ceremonies of the cemetery, at which some of the most noted orators of the country spoke. Mrs. Bilson was fortunate to obtain a position about 10 feet from the rough board platform. Interesting description of the platform. One could sense, oh, we have a quote now. One could sense the thrill and awe and reverence which permeated the crowd when Lincoln arose to speak, she said. Lincoln occupied the hearts of those people with a love that no man since has instilled from the presidential chair. Great quotes. And again, have we not seen this before? This is like one of the best accounts I think we've seen recently.
You see a couple people have
Yeah,
clipped this.
others have saved this account. So we will, oh, one of them's me.
So you have seen it.
So maybe I saw it and didn't share it with you a long time ago. That's funny. All right. I used to pull these quotes many years ago. I wonder if it says when I pulled the quote. Let's see. It'll say when I pulled the quote, or pulled the account. Now I'm curious that I had apparently seen this a long time ago. Clipped by me in 2023, June 23rd. Okay. We got to stop. We can resume. This was a lot of fun. And I think that actually might be the end of the story. Was there one line at the end? That was it. It looks like, um, describe the terrible scenes. Anyway, yeah. So it gives the same account, I think, of, the fainting, or maybe it doesn't. Some really great stuff. Do you have time for me to read the rest of the quote? Describe the scene of the tall, gaunt figure in black form. Descriptive of the character of the man is the kindness on that occasion of which little has been said in the events of the day. Lincoln stepped to the front of the platform, overcome by the excitement, and a woman fainted. Okay, there we have the same thing. In the speech, often described as a masterpiece of the ages. And then it says, a death-like silence fell over the vast throng at his opening words 7 years ago. Wow. Okay. So this is incredible. So we've got to stop now, but this was really fun, and we found some stuff that we didn't really know about, even though I might have looked at this and not taken it so
This
seriously.
exercise that we often, we don't do it all the time when we're supposed to be working, but we've done it a bunch of times on our days off. And it leads to us finding new civilian accounts of the battle, and we clip them,
Right.
and then we put them in our civilian accounts files, which now I think we say that we have like 300 civilian accounts by civilians
That's
about
right.
the battle, by soldiers talking about the civilians during the battle, talking about the people who lived around the battlefield and their interaction with the battlefield afterwards in the aftermath.
That's right. Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. This was a lot of fun. I think we will do it again. Hopefully, you enjoyed our research, our live research, and this is one of my favorite things about the Adams County Historical Society and Gettysburg history. That we have just an enormous treasure trove of information that's out there that we are pulling together to be used in all kinds of programs and exhibits and educational opportunities. So we will do this again. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for tuning in.